Hey, I'm Kev Camelot and welcome back to Valentino Rossi the game. Whereas Kev Camelot, we're making a charge for the title. It may be too late on our Ducati, but we're trying to become the first Ducati World Champion in a decade. As last time out, we had a very good outings in Silverstone, in particular, which is a circuit which really suited this Ducati. Misano might not be that circuit. Yes, it's got some fast spots, but as you see, first sectors are pretty damn slow. All about that rhythm, being smooth with the power. It's a bit difficult on Ducati. It's very rough at times. So you get down to second, go into the hairpin. Now we're going into the half of that which we should be strong. Okay, but look at that, we're almost a second up and we're down! Oh, almost a second ahead of Petrucci. We might have blown it. Let's see what can pull out the bag in this last sector. The last couple of sectors. As past Spargo. There's a mid 34. And we're a second and a half behind. And we're on a track where I'm not the strongest. We needed a good qualifying position. We need to always be up there. But in this like we're doing a mid 35, 35.8. We're not going to make it through. Thanks to that mistake. Oh, that is so annoying. So annoying. As we're a second slower in the end. Without that mistake, we've been comfortably through by about a second. But instead, it's Paul Espargaro on the Tech 3 Yamaha and Hector Barbara on another Ducati that make it through. And we're going to be on the back row of the grid. Very different surroundings to what we're used to in the recent races as we improve our cornering and physical condition. We definitely need that around this circuit.
Hello to all you race fans tuning in. We're joining you live from the Marco Simoncelli World Circuit in Misano for the 13th race in the MotoGP class.
It's the 13th round of the season, and it was unlucky for Kev Camelot in qualifying. Has Marcus grabbed spot ahead of the Yamahas, Ian Oney in 4th, Finn is 5th, Dovi 6th, Droz the 7th, Paul Espargaro in 8th, ahead of his brother in 10th, Brady Smith down in 12th. As you can see, Scott Redding in 14th. 15th. There we are, actually on the penultimate row of the grid. I forgot about the lonely back row of the grid for Alvaro Baptista on the Aprilia.
The bikes have taken their places on the grid, and the light is about to go out any second now. This is when the riders have to clear their minds completely so they can give it everything they've got.
Oh, we have to this race. It's going to be a very long race as well. From the back, will we get caught up in incidents, or will we be able to make a smooth transition forward in the 7-lap race? So he broke very early for the first corner. We managed to dive it down the inside, make the outside, and then make that the inside again. Make that a points playing position, maybe. Yes, already into the points, and a couple of riders gone wide. Cleared in the Suzuki. But that ElusiveKev up to 11th. Fantastic first sector of the lap. As you've got Pedrosa and Crutchlow battling in front. It's that Bradley Smith as well. Yes, there is Danny making a dive as someone runs right alongside ourselves. As we're into the top 10, we've got Dobby right in front. Very happy with how this first lap is going. Now that we can see the front pack virtually on top of each other. Droza makes his way past us up. Paul Espargaro. I've got my Espargaro brothers mixed up again. So go cautiously through that first right. We should set us up for the next rights. But we've been a bit cautious on this first lap. You dive it down the inside of Danny. Make our way up into 7th. And oh, hello. Ian Oney. Hello, Marquez. Hello, teammates. Let me get up into 4th place as there's Maverick Vinales behind the 2 Yamahas. As my teammates are doing battle behind the Andreas, Dovi and Iannone. But what a fantastic first lap. I didn't expect to be this high up. after it, but that first lap went to plan, I feel like. And now we can settle in here behind the top 3. So 2 Yamahas do battle. We nip down the inside of Maverick. Of course we did the fastest lap in the first lap. That was ridiculous. Oh, we're down the inside on Maverick. What are you doing, mate? He takes us down. And oh, now Minna's taking us down. What was that, Rabat? As we're back to last place, all of that work on the first lap has been undone in 2 corners. Unbelievable. Now we do have a fight on our hands. So that first lap was our best chance of making up the places. Now, everyone's a bit spread out. As the Espargaro is down in front. Let's go a bit wide into the right. Now I've got to be careful of the tyre wear. I can already see the tyres are quite worn after just a lap and a half. Not very good. In the bottom right. As there's Lois Baz going right round his outside. Like he's not even there. This perhaps should be on the works Ducati. Now looking to the inside of the Aprilia of Alvaro. So looking around his outside. We're bashing handlebars with him. You're looking the wrong way, Alvaro. I'm out here. As Rossi is in the lead for fastest lap 34.3. We did a 40.3. So we lost 6 seconds that lap. That's the gap we've got to make up for the rest of this race. As Pedrosa is in 3rd. Paz Vinales. What a move from Danny. He's been very feisty this race. As Lorenzo takes the lead from Rossi. As we take 19th into the corner where we got knocked down. Oh, it's a Suzuki rival. Who's that? And in by, I think it was Rabat. Into the next corner. That's not the run we want onto the back straight, but Ducati power is very good. So we go down the inside of the Mark VDS man. That's for the second lap. Was it the Suzuki even? The leash goes all the way down here, battling for a point. As we look down the inside, we've locked the fronts and we're down. Down to 20th. As Brado and Miller are battling like a hell. We tried to insert ourselves. Did not end well. And now we definitely are just looking to salvage at least the top 10, I think. So this is not going to plan at all. Has gone very wide. So we go into the slow stuff. Kev Camelot just using riders now. As he tries to work his way up the order. You can see a point right in front. So the pace isn't actually too bad round here. It's just silly fools. 3 of them this race. Let's look at that into the slipstream of the Suzuki. An easy out brake mover into the first corner. Go a bit wide though. And now looking down the inside into this kind of useless corner, it feels like. It's Ian only's battling for a podium. So we dive it down the inside of Midder. Definitely want that point, but we let the Suzuki take that point now. Or is that Rabat down in 17th now? As Chapman is actually behind him. So good to see Rabat ahead of Midder. That's the season. So we've got Crutchlow and Redding battling in front, and we're down again as Smith and Lafferty collided. Oh, what a terrible race this has turned out to be. We're kind of out breaking ourselves. It was Crutchlow actually in Smith. So we're down in 21st. My God, that was all my fault, that one. Nicking ahead, kind of outbrake myself slightly. Should have been concentrating in perhaps the hardest braking point on the circuit instead of the battle in front. As can we make it 4 wide? Yes, we can. And take 16. That's the moves Kev Camelot needs to make this race. He's going to make his way into the top 10. Get some decent points out of this race. Very difficult race. Found this Misano circuit, such a difficult circuit as well. Named in honour of the late Marco Simoncelli. and it's one of the toughest on the calendar. You're seeing why. Heavy braking zones coupled with extremely fast corners. So the tyres aren't too bad, around halfway at the moment. We're just over halfway through the race, so maybe not as bad on the tyre front as I thought it would be on the second lap. So we go braking a bit early. Someone has really outbroke themselves in front. Is that Lafferty? As we've got Crutchlow and Espargo battling in front for the final point. Braking very early into this corner, looking down the inside of the Suzuki. And there we are, we're back into the points. And now Ducati power down the inside of the Honda. Crutchlow into the fast right. Yeah, bash the Brit out of the way. There have been no holes barred race in this race. Oh, we've had to be now. So behind Lafferty, having a very good race, the Irishman. Down his inside penultimate corner. We've got a couple of guys going side by side into the final corner. Is that Bradley Smith? As Rossi's on the fast lap of the race, 34.2. But I feel like we're going a bit faster than him. We're into the 33s. We're going to outbrake the Irishman on the outside, onto the curb, not quite doing it as Pedrosa's battling for a podium with a teammate, Iannone, and that is Petrucci and Smith side by side in front. As on the penultimate lap of the race. Going down the inside of Lafferty, all over the curve, being cautious here on this pass. Go up into 13th. And we could see a top 10 just about in the distance. But will the tyres hold up? Will we hold up? As we kind of outbrake ourselves slightly into the hairpin, so easy to do that. It's a corner with varying lines as well, as you saw there. Don't really need to hit the apex, but if you do, always helps. It's now through that double right and onto this backstroke before these fast right-hand kinks. Down to 5th. Fantastic run through the first one. Setting us for a move down the inside of Petrucci and into 11th. And there is a top 10 right in front. As we approach the final lap of this race. Tyres are going to go on the final lap, as you can probably see in the bottom right. So we've got a lone rider, Avrino. He's battling in front. It's Scott Redding in the top 10 on the Pramac. And ahead of his teammate, good showing from the Brit, as once again we're in the 33s. So we do have the pace round here. It has just been so many silly falls. 4 of them. 3 of them when we're battling, and 1 just, I don't know what I was doing. Braking myself, nicking somewhere else. I shouldn't have been. So keep it in second gear now for this first section. Trying to set up this run onto the back straight. Not very good, as he's battling Hector Barber to be top privateer Ducati. Scott Redding. And oh, Barber, you pushed Redding into me. I was looking to make a move on the outside of the Brit. And I am into the right and then down the inside of Barbara. In to 9th place. We do get that top 10. Don't quite have enough time to get a top 5 though. As you can see, it's like a line of 3 or 4 or 5 riders in front. That is a top 5 right in front. But we're going to be agonisingly short. You can see the leaders just in front. That's how much pace we had round here. Definitely the class of the field, but in qualifying we messed up, in the race we messed up. As Dovi's battling Marquez down in 7th. Poor from the Spaniards. As Iannone grabs a podium, it looks like. In the final corner, the final lap, as Rossi grabs an important win on home turf on the Yamaha as we cross the 9 in a disappointing 9th. Oh, we definitely had the pace round then. Look at that, almost half a second faster than anyone else. A good recovery job after all those incidents to be only 5.5 seconds back in the end. And I was surprised on the final lap. I thought I'd lose, more time, but the tyres held on quite well. As Rossi wins from his teammate Lorenzo. Iannone in third, just by a tenth of a second from Pedrosa. Vinales rounds out the top 5 on the Suzuki ahead of Dovi, Marquez, Paul Espargaro, good showing from the Yamaha Tech 3-man, and Scott Reed round out the top 10 with Eugene Lafferty dropping down to 15th and grabbing the final point in the end. So in the championship, we have dropped further back, 72 points back with, I think it's 6 rounds remaining now, 5 rounds remaining. Not a lot of points on offer, and I think sadly we might just lose out in the title race, but we're ahead of being only by 14 points now, so we're trying to secure best Ducati and that third place in the championship at least. As further down the order, Scott Redding's ahead of Kyle Kocher in the Battle of the Brits for 14th place. And Yamaha 26 points ahead of Ducati of Honda, third, and Suzuki for 35 points back of their Japanese rivals. So, we definitely have the pace around Misano, very surprising as well. But so many mistakes, started in qualifying and then so many mistakes in the first half of the race, but pulled it back in the second half and got a vital top 10. And now we're at arguably a harder circuit for than Misano, the 14th round of the season, and what should probably be the hardest round of the season as well for Kev Camelot. Around the Misano and Aragon circuit, a modern facility, less than a decade old, or about a decade old, as we break very early into the first corner where we're going to see many incidents, I feel, especially at the start of the race. 48.9 from Petrucci on the Ducati, and 48.3 from Paul Espargaro, immediately beating it on the Tech 3 Yamaha. But this is a circuit where I've never had that much pace, the AI is especially good. MotoGP 15. So it'll be interesting to see a bit more battable mode in Valentino Rossi the game. That's a word. A bit more on our pace, shall we say. Let's see, we go into the infamous reverse corkscrew. As, oh, look at that. Down on the hill, such a tricky corner. Keep it in second gear, of course, otherwise we're going to rev it up, and then this forever left-hander. To be so patient on the power. And then we've got the brake before we go over the rise of the hill, a blind braking zone. So we're only, look at that, 0.3 of a second up, so we're being pretty cautious on this lap, understandably after Misano. We just want to make it round and get a good lap in. As now we prepare ourselves for this back straight into the right, now the left, bit wide. Oh, as that corner's so much tighter than you're seeing, because that has cost us that gap. That's cost us a second. We're going to be battling to get through here on this back straight, and I do prefer this MotoGP out to the one that for Renault 3.5 have used, as this final corner is so spectacular. Keep it in second or third gear, then you've got a kink, and then over the line we're going to be just slower than Espargaro with 0.3 of a second, but is that good enough? It is going to be so close, I feel. So here we go, we're just ahead of Barber. No, he's pipped us. I thought he was going to be close, and 0.06 of a second decided it. As we're not going to make it through the Q2 for the second race in a row. Look at that line of Ducatis on the Yamaha Paul Espargaro, but disappointing qualifying once again. And it was just one mistake which cost us that position. But as you've seen, the pace already not spectacular around here. So I'll be very interested to see what we can do in the race to improve our braking and agility.
Hello from the Aragon circuit. After the 2 rounds in Catalonia and Jerez, the World Championship returns to Spain for the 14th race in the MotoGP season.
So the third Spanish round of the season, and Barcelona Jerez treated us pretty well, even though we had a very difficult race in Jerez. So round Aragon, it's going to perhaps be the most difficult race of the year, and once again battling just to be in the top 10, I feel, as we're 13th on the grid. Unlucky for some once again, but Tito once again feels that back row.
In just a few moments, the Aragon Grand Prix will get going, and the riders are clearing their minds because they know they're going to have to give it 100% right from the off.
And we've got to be very careful into this first corner. Can bunch up really easily. You already see the long braking zone as well. So what can we do from this 5th row? That's a poor start on the outside. Braking early though, around the outside. dropping down to 16th. We should be able to make it up into the next faster right-handers. We'll go back up into 14th. And looking to the inside, into the left. As we barge away back up into 13th, then into the slower left, past the Suzuki, up into 9th, and once again we're on the tail. Pedro's on the first lap of the race, diving it down the inside of the Spaniard at his home race, one of 4 of them. So that's not a good exit. Don't want to get on the curbs around here as well. Here comes the Suzuki of Elish. Let's go slightly wide. We do not want to get caught up with opposition into those corners. So easy to get knocked down. And now through this extremely long left-hander. So patient on the throttle you have to be. And now braking slightly early. We'll brow the hill, but down the inside of Danny. And that's where he clashed in real life with his teammate Marquez into the retirement. Expanded a couple of years ago. But now we can see the front 6 with Dovi at the back, battling Maverick. Then you've got Iannone, you've got the Yamahas, and you've got Marquez as well. So we're where we want to be at the end of this first lap. It's Marquez and Iannone are battling for the podium. Braking a bit early again. Hopefully getting a good run through these final couple of corners. Oh, got on the power slightly early though for the final corner, but it looks like Dovi got pushed wide by the Suzuki. And now we brake. Once you get over that start-finish line, you're braking immediately. You go slightly wide. Once again, we're going to make it up in these fast rights. It's Iannone leads from Marcus. That's what we like to see. The Yamaha's down the field. So they did a fast lap on the first lap. No surprise there. Once again, having to make our way up the order. And now we're blocking the Yamahas here. We want Iannone and Marcus about at the front. We're getting tactical here in Aragon, the 14th round of the season. As Lorenzo's battling for the top 5, that's what we like to see. Braking slightly early, blocking off Lorenzo, and oh, slightly wide again. Be careful on the power as, hey, Dovi, I'm your teammate, what are you doing? Take that back. So down the inside of Lorenzo, got the doctor in front, our mentor. Braking early, then switch it down the inside, up into 3rd. Going to be making that move all race long, I feel. As Marcus leads for Iannone. And sit behind our teammate and try and get some slipstream off him. Down this back straight, as here we go, into the left. Such a slow corner. But it's a good run onto the back straight. We've got Rossi behind us. We're getting, oh, we're not really getting slipstream with our teammate. Of course, he's got Ducati power as well. So about a 1/3 of the way through this race, braking early once again into that final corner, starting into 3rd gear, looking after these tyres, which you seem to be doing in these first couple of laps. And that was a good final corner, much better onto the power, much smoother as well. Braking slightly early, going to stop in behind the front 2 here, as we did a fast out of the race for 47.7. So I'm surprised by the pace. I thought I'd be struggling. We're able to match Iannone and Marcus. Oh, we're getting to our teammate. That has slowed us up. Let us go wide into the left. And oh, even wider into the next left. But we're holding on to 3rd from Rossi. As Lorenzo's battling with Finlanders behind. And then, of course, we've got Dovi just stalking. He's been a tactician, it feels like, the Italian. Just waiting to pounce, maybe. Let's look at them go side by side in front. Here we go. Finally hitting the apex into the left-hander. Once again, perhaps running ride's a bit better. As it lets us run ride and then get the power, manage power a bit better line into that long left-hander. So we're pushing Rossi right here, holding him off for 3rd. Getting a bit cautious on this 3rd lap, making slight mistakes as well, as you saw that tight line into out of that left-hander at the bottom of the hill. Compromises for that left-hander, that long left-hander. Wasn't good at all. It's put us into Rossi's crosshairs again. And oh, he's braked into the back of us, the Yamaha man. As Iannone and Marquez are side by side again. Waiting for the power. And nailing it as Lorenzo's ahead of Rossi behind. It's just that way we're going to start making moves. As Iannone tries to make a move for the lead past the Honda. And he does it. Great move from the Italian as Lorenzo does a fast out the race, 47.6. Can we make it a Ducati 1-2? Sneaking to the outside of Marquez. We're making it 3 wide. Around the outside of Iannone. And into the lead goes Kev Camelot from 13th on the grid. And now the Ducati man's going to try and break away from the chasing pack. We've got careful of this left-hander, or right-hander. So we break a bit early into it. We clip the apex. Clip the apex of the net, and that's it. Got to let the bike run ride there. And that's a much better line through the long left-handers. Iannone and Marquez still battling. They're going side by side everywhere. Look at this. Fantastic to see at least in the bottom left. Sure, and it was, of course, when we were behind them. And they got almost a second gap now. Short shifting up to third through this right. Never really know how to take that corner, whether to take the curve or not. But it seemed to work out pretty decently there. So he set up for the back straight. Got on the power early. And we've got a second gap on Marquez behind. Iannone behind him. Then the Yamahas. And we've got, of course, got Maverick there. And Dovi. Braking a bit later now into this left-hander. Balance the powers. Oh, Lorenzo's up to third ahead of our teammate. Not good to see, especially for our championship ambitions. We want Marquez and Iannone behind. As we have made the break, 46.8 that last lap. It's going to the penultimate lap of the race. We've got a second gap on Marquez. There's no, he's battling with Lorenzo. And we're battling to stay on the track. Getting distracted by the activities from behind. Or behind. From behind, that would be a very different activity. As there's Lorenzo battling his way up to second. The Yamaha once again just being the class of the field round there. Apart from Kev Camelot, as he's got a 2-second gap on Lorenzo behind. Tyres on good nick as well. Around halfway down. As Marquez is fighting back. Just like he would in real life, of course. And that's allowed Iannone back past Lorenzo. Where's Rossi in all of this? Is he settling for 5th? Rossi's thinking of the championship? Surely not. As Lorenzo gets his way back past Iannone. Marquez has made up some time. That's all. We go very wide into that left. Now up the hill onto the right. Oh. There's some camber into that corner, which kind of pushes you wide as well. So I kind of want to turn in early and go over that curve, but going over the curve is not the best idea, of course. So it won't allow us to get smoothly onto the power. He's got less than a 2-second lead over Marc Marquez, heading on to the final lap of the race. Can we grab a win round Aragon? Which is something I thought I would never say on this game. Lorenzo gets his way back past Marquez. The Spaniards having a good fight behind. But the Italians as well behind them. Iannone and Rossi having a good one. We will find out at the end of this race, I feel. He still did the fastest lap on that previous lap, despite making some poor mistakes. Got over a 2-second lead on Lorenzo. There's Marquez back past. Go on, Mark. Of course, we're thinking of the championship here. If Rossi is in like 5th, that's 10 points taken off the Italian. That's a big chunk, considering Yamaha are always up here battling for a podium. That would be fantastic. It's something a bit unlikely, I would have thought, before this race. That's how it's turned out. It's being tactical in the middle part of the racing might have paid off. Let's go into that left. Look at that. So slow. Under 50 miles per hour. Such a fantastic corner as well. Now we've got a pretty nice circuit. Got some picturesque scenery. Yeah, there's lots of tarmac runoff. There's quite a lot of sand as well. We've got the famous rule on our outside. And there's so many different layouts here. There's also like dirt riding around here. It's a fantastic facility. The facility I would like to see used more in motor racing. It's just a shame that MotoGP, and I've seen Formula Renault 3.5 use it. Not much else seems to be using this circuit, so get some more races round it. As we go into the final corner, slow on the power. Mazzini only takes back the podium spot from Lorenzo after there been changes on this final lap. As we end with another 46.3. And a very happy Kev Camelot winning from 13th on the grid. I did not expect that at all. Fastest lap by over a second. So maybe they have changed the Aragon difficulty a bit. As Rossi was 5th behind Iannone. And Marquez won that battle for second ahead of Lorenzo. So that's around 10 points off Lorenzo as well. Fantastic race for Kev Camelot after disappointing qualifying. Pedrosa 6th, Dobby 7th. The Asparo goes 8th and 9th, and Maverick behind his teammate rounding out the top 10 as Scott Redding grabs the final point. So now we're 58 points back of Rossi. That's a huge chunk taken out. That Aragon virtually makes up for that poor race in Misano. But still over 2 race wins back of Rossi at the top of the championship. No other changes in the order. Ducati also take a chunk out of Yamaha's lead, and the constructor stands just 17 points back, with Honda in a solid 3rd ahead of Suzuki, and the Aprilia are last. So fantastic race in Aragon compared to the race we had in Misano, where we're always battling. Did not expect that at all, but very happy to see it, and it's kind of given us a little light for our championship ambitions after I thought they were gone after the last round. So our body position bonus 2 has been unlocked.
Guys, even though we are not racing next week, I'd like us to practice a bit on the track. We are going to race with the Air Ones at Misano. Everyone try and make it. Bye.
And next time out, we're going back to Misano for a Yamaha R1M race. I hope you enjoyed this episode, though very up and down for Kev Camelot, but in the end, very up. And can he continue winning and taking points off Rossi for the remaining 4 rounds of the season? We've only got Motegi, Philippard, Sepang and Valencia left. He needs to continue doing it. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.